Peace and abundance, soul tribe. Happy Moon Day. Happy Moon Day. Make sure I'm going live on all of my platforms here. Give me just a moment. Peace, everybody. We're going to talk about manifesting love today. How y'all feeling? All right. Making sure we're getting this everything good and recorded for the podcast because we double up for the podcast on Mondays. And if you are not already following the Elevate podcast, what are you doing? We are streaming on all platforms. Let me get that in the link for y'all while we wait for some people to come. Yes. Let me share the podcast with y'all. We are on season 2, but in case y'all want to catch up, I ain't mad at you. Let's do that. All right. Get that in the comments for you. Peace, everybody. Peace. YouTube land, Facebook peeps. There is the Elevate podcast for y'all. What is up? What is up? Mindfulness Mondays. We're going to get this thing cracking, y'all. Mrs. Nani could not be with us on today. We're going to keep it moving, grooving. You know how we do. We like water. We flow, baby. So, we're going to get into the topic of manifesting love. Everybody wants love. It feels good. Last Monday, we talked about establishing boundaries and why that's important. And it's also important when manifesting love. I think they go hand in hand. So we're going to dive into that. I'm going to share some of my tools and tips on manifesting love because I know a lot of people out there looking for their soulmate, their twin flame, all that good stuff. Just sharing what has helped me. I have been with my partner now. We just made 6 years of marriage. Ooh, don't beat me down, Anthony. I don't count. I don't count, and it's because I enjoy spending time with my husband. We've been friends forever. And in our adult life, we decided to join forces and start a family. That's what we did. So I feel like that was one of the best things for me. I dated a lot. I just, explored different types of dynamics. And I'm just going to drop some gems and share what worked for me. I ain't going to keep y'all too long on this good moon day. But I wanted to definitely dive in because I get a lot of people who ask me often. They don't ask about the womb healing part. They skip that part. They skip the shadow work. They skip the self-love portion, and they're like, I want my soulmate. I want my twin flame and all of that good stuff. So I thought that I would definitely share that. I'm going to put the Elevate podcast up there for you. What has helped me? All right, so let's dive in. Peace, y'all. We are live streaming from YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Hi, everybody. Hi, how y'all doing? Yeah, hope I can share something that helps. Shout out to BGN. I was a guest on their show, The Real, one of my cohorts on the network. And it was amazing. CG and Mari invited me on their show, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So thank you for that. Shout out to BGN for allowing us to come through and share this good mental food that we share with the collective. All right, so if y'all ready for this, let's dive in. If you really about this life, get pen and a paper, and we're going to talk about this, all right? Oh, no. There we go. One second. Gotta make sure I'm doing the right thing. All right. Gotta go live on my other page. Oh no. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. All right. I'm going to share it. It didn't go live on my regular phone. So sad. Give me a minute, y'all. Give me 1 second. Little technical difficulties. I want to make sure everybody getting this message, especially on my personal page. Come on now. There we go. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. All right, let me share this. There we go. All right, so let's dive in, y'all. I done held y'all up long enough. Let's start diving in. If y'all got y'all pen and paper ready, let's get this thing cracking. Like I said, a lot of people love to dive in first, saying, I want my soulmate. I am looking for my partner. I'm looking for love. How do I do this thing? And that's great because I strongly feel like we ain't meant to do this thing by ourselves. However, I think it's levels to it. I really do. And what I've experienced personally, and this was me, and this is why I can attest to it, is when I was out there actively looking for Mr. Right or what have you, and this perfect partner, this soulmate, this one that completed me. It was a cry for help. It was because I needed a void. It was a void that needed to be filled. It was me trying to develop another codependent relationship, someone who was there as a placeholder for the self-love that I was lacking at the time, someone who was there to keep me from feeling lonely, or maybe just for sexual fulfillment. And that is okay if that's what you're wanting, but that's not a recipe for a soulmate or somebody that you really are looking to really do work with or build with. And I say that because without a solid foundation, you're going to literally attract what it is that's going on in here. So let's say you just got out of a relationship of 3, 4, 5 years, long-term relationship, and you're used to someone being around. You're used to having a partner. You're used to being booed up or what have you. And all of a sudden that ends for whatever reason. Y'all go y'all separate ways. And then you are left with, oh, I ain't got nobody here to be going to movies with, hanging out with, talking on the phone with, good morning text, good night text, staying with me or whatever it is. However, you've become a different person since that relationship. You're not the same person that you were. For example, if I'm in a relationship with my husband and I'm used to doing things a certain way, cooking on a certain night, kind of allowing the relationship dynamic to I cater my lifestyle to the relationship dynamic, meaning that if I got yoga on Saturdays, I'm making sure hubby ain't got nothing to do on Saturdays so that I can do what I need to do. Basically, I'm used to working my schedule with someone else or including someone else in my schedule. And if you get out of that relationship, then that is no more. You are no longer the same person. So I am a strong advocate, and it may not work for everybody, of getting to know yourself again after you've ended a relationship, taking a pause. Now, the amount of time that pause takes, it varies from person to person. However, taking a pause to get to know who you are in that moment, right? Self-check, self-evaluation. Now, this last relationship was X, Y, and Z, but in this relationship, I really desire, or I learned from this relationship that I would prefer. These are the types of things or the types of questions that you ask yourself before jumping into another relationship, simply because you'll end up carrying baggage from one relationship to the next. You'll end up carrying feelings from one relationship to the next, and then you'll end up projecting and not really being the true you, but wearing sometimes hurt, sometimes anger from that past experience, sometimes resentment, whatever feelings that may have occurred and you've not completely, I ain't gonna say completely healed from, but even dealt with or faced, and you're jumping in another relationship just so you don't have to face those emotions or because you don't want to be alone. That is a sign that you headed straight for codependency, and that's not okay, because in relationships the goal is to be whole by yourself and then have that person to compliment you. All right. So first things first is check yourself. Check yourself. Pause after these relationships. Even if it wasn't a long-term relationship, maybe it was short-term. I'm sure it was something you could have learned from that experience. Not just gain hurt, but learn the love from that lesson. Hey, this taught me that I may not want somebody who yeah, or this taught me that maybe my personality doesn't mesh well with this type of person. So one, just checking yourself and seeing how you can show up better for the next relationship, or what did I learn about myself to help me build upon myself? Because again, it starts right here. You're going to people like, I just attract all these ain't shit ass men or these ain't shit ass women. Well, you have to be mindful of that self-love. People be like, I feel this way about myself. I don't have low self-esteem, but if you allow people to treat you a certain way, that is a lack of self-love. If you allow them to treat you a way that which you don't, it's not favorable. If you allow people to disrespect you, talk to you in a way that you don't like, maybe put their hands on you or something like that. That's extreme. But just saying that sets the tone. Self-love sets the tone for how people treat you, not just in an intimate relationship, but all relationships. And with self-love comes boundaries. Well, I know I love myself enough to have somebody out here hitting on me. I don't want nobody hitting on me. And I love myself to know that if somebody's showing those types of behaviors, or if they're showing types of characteristics of something I don't like, I want to speak on that early before letting it, I like them a whole lot, and yeah, they are showing some traits that I really don't like, or they may be a little bit controlling or what have you. You start seeing them red flags and you ignore them. That's when things turn. They had that snowball effect. It was good in the beginning, and you won't ignore them red flags because you enjoy their company, or you don't enjoy your company enough, and you're and you don't want to be by yourself. So you'll allow these types of things or these types of behaviors to be okay. And people think it's okay because people can't do to you what you don't allow. Unless I give the pass for people, for children. But when it comes to adults, consenting adults, you are consenting to the way that people treat you, like disrespectful, talking all sideways. Now, you can't control that behavior, but you can control your place in allowing that behavior to occur. So setting those boundaries with self-love is first and foremost. Please don't be out here dating people and ain't even checked in with yourself. What I see this lady on Instagram with her man, and they out here riding bikes and eating cupcakes, and yeah, that's fine, but what do you want? What is it that you want? So that's why it's very important. Rule number one is checking in with yourself. What is it that I want? What is it that I don't want? Even if making a list works, and not compromising on that list. And that's where boundaries come into play. This is what I said I want. I'm not going to compromise because somebody can't deliver. I'm just going to continue to flow until I encounter someone who can. So don't compromise. Number one is checking in with yourself and healing from any past relationships, working to heal. Not saying I'm going to be 100% healed when this Mr. Right or Mrs. Right come along, but I can be the best version of myself by being aware of what I want and what I don't want in this relationship or with this type of love. And that is how you attract the type of love that you desire, not just any old hum and Tom and Mary that may come along that may be available at the moment. Value yourself enough to know, hey, I'm not going to, compromise when it comes to things that I want in a relationship. So one is just checking in with yourself. Check in. What do I want? What do they want? Are they in alignment? All right. And then a caveat to that rule is making sure that if I've been in a relationship prior to, I'm getting ready to start again, I want to evaluate, like, what did I learn? Like, what is it that I want to, make different in this relationship? What is it that I want to see different? What is it that I want to bring to the table that I feel like I can work on? Because when you check yourself, that's when that real growth goes. You can't tell yourself nothing or I got it all together. Then maybe you capped off your learning and your growing experience. So with all partnerships or relationships I had, whether it was professional, personal, intimate, I'm always self-evaluating and going back on what I could have done better. Not necessarily say, oh, this is my fault. It's not a blame game, but being accountable for things that I may be able to change, or, hey, I could have been more open with that, or no, I don't want that in my relationship. So just checking yourself. I think that is very, very, very important. And so I make that as number one. Number two, self-love. We mentioned this. It kind of goes hand in hand with our first point. Self-love. Make sure you are loving on you, because if you don't love yourself, you allow people to disrespect your boundaries and they won't uphold your boundaries. And you've allowed that. You've consented to that. Well, I got this man that just won't stop cheating on you. Well, if you stay and let him know that it's okay, and you still provide a warm place to sleep at night or a warm booth for him to lay on, you letting him know that that's all right. You might fuss, you might holler, scream, might even curse at them, but that's still, you're allowing them in your life and into your space, and you're not setting those boundaries or standing firm in those boundaries. So yeah, they're going to do what they want to do. You have a choice. You have to remember to take your power back. You don't have to be a part of anything that you're not consenting to when it comes to a relationship that's not meeting your standards. So self-love will tell you where your boundaries need to be. Oh, I ain't dealing with no lying. Oh, I ain't dealing with no cheating. Oh, I ain't dealing with whatever it is. Self-love will say, I'm worth it. So much so that I'm not going to allow this person to do this for me. Because when you disrespect those boundaries, you are disrespecting yourself. And guess what? You're going to project it. And people are going to come along that are going to disrespect you because you're setting the tone. You are setting the tone. So that's number one, check in with yourself. What do you want? Why are these things important that I want this? And that's why you can jot this down or keep a mental note of why it's important that I don't have somebody that's cheating on me. Because I had to, heal from an 18-year relationship with somebody cheating on me. And that was tough, or whatever it is. And I don't want to go back to that. Remind yourself why. That way you're able to continue to uphold those boundaries. Second, focus on self-love first. Love on you first. While we out here, want a date that's fun, that's cool. And nobody says that you can't date while you're healing. But if you're looking for that soulmate, if you're looking for a very serious relationship or someone who is equally yoked, as they say, love on yourself first. I see so many women out here right now in this day and time saying, yeah, I am, I'm out here looking for my ring. I want to get my ring. That's cool. Rings are great. But I want that ring to be complimentary. I don't want it to be something to complete you. And look at me telling what I want for you. But all I'm saying is that somebody has the power to make or break you if they are part of you. So if I'm a part of something and it's one and one and it ain't all me, they break off for whatever reason because people change, not even daily, but by the minute. And if something ain't working or it ain't cohesive anymore, they've left. Now you're not complete anymore. So that sets you up for hurt. It sets you up for an unfavorable outcome, as I like to say in the birthing world. So we want to make sure that we're not looking for somebody to complete us, that we're whole all by ourselves. And that's why that journey starts with me. I had someone ask me at one of the last retreats that I offered. She sat down and she saw my husband at the retreat with me, which we do everything as a family. And she said, well, how did you manifest this type of relationship? And I never really had been asked that question prior to that. Now, the more that I'm open and, I discuss my family life and dynamic, I'm more open and people ask me more often, but I had never really pondered, like, what did I do to manifest the type of relationship that I have with my husband? So I sat down a minute and I thought about it and I meditated on it. And I was like, wow, in reflection, I found myself. My husband had always been my friend. He had always been someone who I called on, talked to when things got rough, but we never dated. We were more like brother and sister. However, as we journeyed through our lives on our individual paths and journeys, I became more mature and so did he. And so when we met at that opportune time, when we were both open and available and ready, working on ourselves, actively working on ourselves individually, we raised our vibration to a frequency to where we were equally yoked. And we could support each other from a non-judgmental space, because when he met me, baby, I probably didn't have a pot to piss in or wanted to throw it out of. And he came in and he wasn't putting judgment on me. He saw the vision. He saw the potential, in which we don't want to do that a lot, but he saw me actively working towards my goals. He knew my drive. He knew my heart. This wasn't a stranger. So he was like, yeah, let's join forces. He didn't judge me because of my financial situation. He didn't judge me because of a lot of things. And on the other side of that was everything that we desired in each other. Getting past the stigmas and the biases. And this is what my relationship should look like. So while working on me, I wasn't looking to date at the time. I was in school. I was trying to get on my feet. It was a lot going on. However, working towards my healing, I was able to attract someone who was able to support me mentally, physically, and emotionally. And look, many years now, we're still doing the same thing for each other interchangeably. So my secret was to work on myself. While I was in school and going through all of that, I took a hiatus. I took a break and I went and did some self-love, some self-discovery. I got away. I got in the quiet. And then it sparked the catalyst of my spiritual journey of me working on me, incorporating meditation, self-love, journaling, talking to myself, affirmations. And then I raised my vibration. So I was able to attract something that I truly desire. Not know, like what Betty Wright say, when you're on the ground, you can't pick up none but dirt. I feel like I was on the ground, but I kept my spirits high. I continued to work on me. I did not give up. And with that came an amazing, amazing partner and an amazing relationship with so much that followed. So I was not looking. I actually tried to run. I was like, I got a lot going on right now. I got a whole lot of baggage. And he was like, I get that. I get that. And we can, help each other. We can support each other. So I worked on me. I got myself up at a level to where I wasn't out here desperately looking for somebody to be on my arm, desperately looking for a boo land with any and everything. And I'm not saying that you can't have freely have sex with anyone, but at that point, I wanted to preserve me for me, and that meant totally for me, because I needed to get to know who I was so that I could know what I wanted. And in the process of doing that, I was able to attract my soulmate. I was able to attract my husband. Right there under my nose the whole time, but I dealt with me first. I dealt with my shit. That way I wasn't bringing in anything into the relationship that could have been harmful. After 3 years, I would self-sabotage a relationship because I became fearful of long-term commitments. And that was because I was fearful of abandonment issues. So I had to go back to inner child healing to get to where I am right now, as far as relationship wise. All right. So let's checking in with ourselves. That self-love. The third one is use affirmation to dissolve blockages. You know how many people be like, baby, I'm not dating. I'm done dating black men. I'm done dating black women. All of those different things. You just put everybody in a box. Like, what is it about black women are you dating anyway? What is it about black men are you dating? Because not all black women are the same. Not all black men are the same. So what are you saying here? And I've heard this across the board. Like, I ain't dating this type of woman. I ain't dating this type of woman. Just be accountable enough to say that person, that individual hurt you, or they may have caused harm, or whatever it was. And I want to be more careful moving forward, or I'm going to be more mindful moving forward. Don't put everybody in a box. It's a bias and that's a prejudice. And you will definitely miss out on the luxuries of life thinking that way. So don't, all men are dogs, I'm going to go start dating women. I had that mentality before. And if you got issues and baggage, you're going to carry it, men, women, and the like. If you date people with issues and baggage, it's going to carry the same tone. So don't feel like, oh, I'm going to go date somebody in Texas instead of Memphis, and I'm going to get me a good. That ain't how it works. You work on you on the inside, and then you radiate and then attract. That's how manifesting works. It starts here. So it ain't anybody on the outside that's going to come with a magic wand or a magic stick or whatever you want to call it and wave it on you and make it, oh, all better. I'm ready to date. I'm well and I'm healing. They complete me. It's a setup. That's a setup. That's not, it works that way in some of the movies, maybe the cartoons, but in real life, you got to do the inner work. Otherwise, you're just going to carry some of those traumas, some of those different types of things into your relationships. So yeah, check on you, deal with you. So that is 1, 2, and 3. Third, use an affirmation to dissolve blockages. I am open to receiving genuine love, whatever it is, whatever you feel like your shortcoming is. Oh, I keep attracting men who ain't got no job. And you want a man with a job. I ain't judging you. Do what you do. So you will say, I am attracting a man who is financially stable, or whatever, however you want to word it. You are the commander of your life. You can speak these things in the mirror, even if you don't believe them at the time. You program your being to say, this is what I want. These are my boundaries. Like you programming when you're watching these shows and all this different stuff. Why not take advantage of programming your being to work for you? All right. So if you want this knight in shining armor and you wrote down your checklist and what you want it to look like, absolutely recite that in the mirror every day. But also do your self-love affirmations. I am worthy of love. I deserve love, because I had daddy issues, abandonment issues. And so I was manifesting relationships that weren't high vibrational or weren't favorable because I hadn't dealt with that. I had a stepdad to step in and pretty much raise me as his own. He did a damn good job. However, my biological father wasn't in my life for a number of years in my, adolescent age or my upbringing. And I didn't even know that I had those types of issues because I felt like it didn't matter. He wasn't there. I had somebody there in this place. I'm fine. I'm well. I'm mentally, good. I'm physically good. We all right. So I ain't carrying no anger, no resentment. But there was that child in me that needed to be healed. And until she could be healed, or I could address those issues of being abandoned, because my body knows, my cells know, my nervous system knew that I had a stepfather as opposed to a biological father. And so that took a toll. It definitely took a toll. on the way that I chose my partners, on the way that I value myself. And that was huge in finding my partner. Healing myself and healing them daddy issues was huge in finding my partner, because baby, I bumped my head a few times out here just, wanting to be loved or filling the voice. While a lot of these men out here calling daddy or husband daddy, and not a lot of us, I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying, because I call my husband daddy too, but I'm saying a lot of us are literally out here searching for daddies and don't even realize it. A lot of men out here just looking for a mama, because they got abandoned issues with their mama, or either mother wounds, and they just looking to be coddled and loved by a woman or that feminine energy, and that's okay. But we're gonna have to heal from that, because we need a wife, not a mama. We're not looking to be no liability for nobody. So I really 100% am for doing the inner work. Otherwise, we're gonna be out here pointing the finger. Oh, men ain't shit. Oh, women ain't shit. Let's just work on ourselves. Let's build ourselves up, and then we can be better for each other. How about that? Let's love on ourselves. And that's a pact that my husband and I made long time ago. We're gonna be the best possible versions for ourselves. Not for you, not for the kids, but for ourselves first, so that we can show up to everybody the best possible way. So we made a vow to each other that the best thing that we can do is absolutely positively love on ourselves first and foremost. All right, number 4, develop self-awareness. Release the victim and blame mentality. OMG. Please. We carry on the energy of I can forgive, but I ain't gonna forget. Well, you holding on to hurt. You carry on the energy of maybe you had a baby daddy, baby mama, or a partner that wasn't, good to you or whatever. Don't keep telling that same story. Learn from it and move on. Be like water. That creates a blockage to constantly keep bringing up that energy, to constantly keep reintroducing yourself to that hurt. And maybe you need to do it until you can become aware of it. But it's detrimental years and years and years later to keep reliving that moment. That was a moment in time. It does not have to be your truth today. I had somebody say, I ain't dating him because he looked like my ex-husband. That could be everything you desire, but because he looked like your ex-husband, you're going to let your ex-husband's physical features stop you from potentially meeting someone who could be good for you, or a friend, or a beneficial relationship. That's a blockage. Okay, so deal with that. Why does my ex-husband's face make me feel away? And work through that. Not projecting it to this man, because he might not even know your ex-husband. And you like, nope, can't get my number because you look like him. Yeah, that sounds a little extreme. For some people, depending on where you are in your healing process. So learn to release that. And they may have done some things that were really, really horrible to you. That's where affirmations come into place. Emotional freedom techniques, speaking those things out. I was in an abusive relationship. Although I was in an abusive relationship, right now I'm in relationships that are whole and healed. You can use that as your anchor statement for your EFTs. And when I speak about emotional freedom techniques, please check out my pages. When you're tapping on various parts of your body, basically corresponding to energy centers, to release energy, to release anxiety, fear, to reprogram your mind into saying, this doesn't have to be this way always. Or I'm broken, I can't find anybody. No, you're not broken. You're not broken. You just need to scatter the pieces of yourself. Make and find yourself again. You're not broken. A lot of people say, I just can't find nobody. There must be something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You just gotta love on yourself a little bit more, maybe a lot bit more, and stand firm on your boundaries. Stand firm on your boundaries. So developing self-awareness, who you are, what you want, what my boundaries are, that's what makes you an individual. That is the blueprint of setting the tone of how people treat you. All right. The next one is shift out of energy habits that don't serve you anymore. If you dated this man, y'all had a great time, y'all became intimate, and then he ghosted you. Don't go back to that same man. If he made you feel away and you spent a week crying or sobbing or whatever it was, trying to get yourself back whole again, don't waste your time on that person again. They showed you themselves. Not saying you can't get nobody no second chances, but if they ain't putting no action behind that, I'm sorry or I apologize. Don't keep opening yourself up to that hurt for the sake of not being lonely, for the sake of not being by yourself or not having somebody in bed with you. Don't keep opening yourself up to that, because if you're opening yourself up to that continuously, then you are consenting to it. You are allowing that type of behavior. So we want to be mindful of behaviors that we don't enjoy. Somebody ghosting you after y'all had a good time, or maybe somebody being inconsistent with their communication. They fall off the planet for 2-3 weeks, or something that is not favorable or does not fall on a positive on your list, and they're continuing to do it, or you've told them, hey, it's like my kind of thing, I can't really get jiggy with it, and they're continuing to do the same thing, you might want to reevaluate that relationship and move some things around. But don't keep opening yourself up to that hope, saying, oh, I think this person will change, or I see potential in that person. You cannot change. I don't care how good it is. I don't care what good knowledge you putting or mental food you putting in their ear, how sweet you talking to them. People will only change or be who they want to be or choose to show up as at that moment. You cannot force that on anybody. I don't care nothing about no spells or all of that. It's not going to work. You have to be with someone who's consenting. And that's how it works. You don't want to force what doesn't fit. All right. And if somebody's constantly showing you a behavior that triggers you in a way that you don't like, then you may want to reevaluate their relationship with that person. All right. And then last is practice positivity and have fun. Know that you may not find that Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, but you got to get out here and try. Like you may not find them on the first try, may not be the second try. But I remember when I was in the dating scene, I would meet new people, and they became friends who I still talk to this day, business partners. Like I was open-minded and not just seeing this man that was nice dressed or drove a certain kind of car. That, oh, that's my husband, that's my man. You don't even know what's on the inside of that. And then furthermore, a couple months, couple weeks later, people are forever changing. So I just tell people to just have fun and not really set expectations. Have goals, have boundaries, but don't really set expectations. But have fun when you're getting out here to meet new people. And that means that you actually have to get out here and meet new people. Whether it be on the dating site, on via virtually, or you're in person. But sometimes people will sit down. I was talking to my son, and he was like, I'm really, looking to get to become familiar with this area, meeting some new friends. We knew where we are. And I was like, you're not going to meet them just sitting here. You have to get out there and actually interact with people. It will be nice and convenient if somebody just knocked on your door, like, let's hang out or let's date, or, just conveniently stop by at the coffee shop or whatever. And y'all meet and you hit it off. That's nice. It happens on TV. Sometimes it may happen that way, but be open to saying, hey, that didn't work, but he was a nice guy. And, that gives me hope to continue to go on. Or, I realize that I don't want a guy that does this. Take the meat and spit out the bones. Don't be out here heartbroken and torn up over something that, maybe quote unquote failed or didn't work out to be what you expected it to be. Empress Shade was on here saying, like, we have to stop attaching to these people or these experiences. Maybe they weren't there to be a lifelong partner. But you sitting here still crying over this person from last year when they came to give you a lesson to make you better. And that's what I mean by eating the meat and spitting out the bones, not just taking the sorrow and the sadness of, oh, it didn't work again, but taking the lesson of why it didn't work. And this is what I'll potentially do different moving forward so that I can prevent this. You know what I'm saying? And that does not mean cutting people completely off or ghosting people, but being honest and open. This is why, I'm deciding to, cut things off where they are. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a bad sever of ties or things like that, but just upholding your boundaries, being present and knowing that this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and being able to communicate like an adult. Like, you won't want nobody ghosting you, so don't ghost them. If things didn't work out, that's fine. Just let them know why or not. But I think that communicating with people, sometimes you can get through to a point where, maybe it was just a misunderstanding or a miscommunication, or maybe that person doesn't know what boundaries are and you're there to teach them. And maybe you're patient enough to teach them and hold their hand and say, hey, this is what my boundaries are. And this is how I choose to be loved and dated and courted. And you have that right. You have that power. I had a lady to reach out to me and was like, you taught your husband how to love you? Yeah, because he's dated many women before me, I'm sure, but he had never dated me before. He had never dated that version of me before. I was just getting to know me. So how can I expect someone who had never dated me before, or probably a woman, like me, because we're all individuals, to have the rule book of knowing. Now, there are foundational things, but for him to be able to date me individually, we had to talk about these things. We had to establish groundwork and lay a foundation, because otherwise he wouldn't have known. He wouldn't have known. So yeah, you gotta have patience. You gotta have patience and have fun with knowing that, hey, that may have been okay in the last relationship you were in, but I need you to communicate with me. That may have been okay in the last relationship you were in, but that's something that I just can't tolerate or get jiggy with. Either they can conform or go on about their business. All right. So we do have to teach people how to treat us in all of our relationships. And again, that stems from self-love. So I'm gonna run through these again, really, really quickly for y'all. First, checking in with yourself. What do you want? Why are these things important? Why do I want this? Why is this important to me? It's important to know the why, so that you're not bumping your head and going right back down that road. And kind of, I know for me, I attracted the same types of individuals, and it really wasn't favorable or anything that I desired. It was because I was attracting them from a hurt space. So I had to check in with me and know what I was willing to allow and what I wasn't. Number two, focus on self-love. This should be a first. This goes hand in hand with number one, because if you love yourself, you know yourself. You honor yourself, you honor your wishes, and you respect your boundaries. If not, then you're allowing people to stomp all over. You got your house wide open and people can do what they want. And then we end up with relationship experiences that aren't favorable, that can potentially leave scars, leave blockages for future relationships, blockages for us loving ourselves. I know emotional and physical narcissistic abuse, they all do that. So we want to be mindful of boundaries. If it's something that we're not honoring or it's not self-honoring, treat yourself like it was a guest in your house. Would you treat your guests like that? Because a lot of people love to get their love to people outside of them. But until you get used to loving on yourself for real, treat yourself like a person that you are an honored guest. Maybe mama or daddy or the in-laws, somebody who you would give the top-notch treatment. They came to your home. Treat yourself that way, and you watch how your life flourishes. Watch how it flourishes, because you'll attract what you desire, what you deserve, not just what someone's telling you. This is what you're going to have, or at least having a piece of man is better than having no man. That's some toxic shit. Betty Wright, I love you, sis, but no, ma'am. No, ma'am. We need wholeness. We need wholeness. All right. Third is using affirmations. I am lovable. I am attracting the love that I deserve and desire. Speaking that to yourself every day in the mirror, looking yourself in the eyes is very, 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 very powerful. Listening to yourself say that aloud is very, 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 very powerful. So you may want to record that, play that back, whatever it is, any weaknesses you may feel you have in a dating game. Oh, I keep attracting men that are not telling the truth, or I keep attracting women that aren't faithful. Rewrite that and say, I am attracting a man who is honest and open with me. I'm attracting a woman who honors and respects the relationship that we're in. However you want to word that, flip that script and turn it around. The universe is mental. Develop self-awareness is number 4. Release the victim and blame mentality. Oh, it's their fault I'm like this. Oh, he ruined me. We had this relationship and he made me feel this way about myself. You allowed yourself to feel that way, whether you want to own up to that or not. It could have, it ain't no blame. You left that door open and it is okay. I learned from it and I'm better now. Not bitter. Better, not bitter. Because you're continuing to carry on those emotions and that energy, and you're going to attract more of that. You give energy to those things you focus on. So if you're going to have a whole 2-hour conversation on how bad your baby daddy did you just gave a whole lot of energy to whatever he did. So we want to make sure that we're staying focused and having accountability of saying, like, I was a part of that relationship that was not favorable. I don't agree with anybody treating me that way. However, I learned that I love myself so much that I'm not going to go through that again. And I'm going to have a partner who doesn't treat me that way. So yeah, don't give so much honor and glory to those things that we don't desire, because it fuels those things, it powers those things, and we get more of that. So that's why I always say gratitude and less complaining. I'm grateful for the lesson, or we can sit here and complain about why men ain't shit. It's not going to change the fact that you feel that way. That's not going to help. But shifting our mindset and calling in those energies that are better qualified for what we have to offer is more like it. That's more queenly or kingly, instead of just pointing fingers and being out there in the mesh pool throwing slime and dirt on each other. Men ain't shit, no women ain't shit. We can do that all day long, but how is that fixing anything? We've all went through our stuff. We've all suffered some types of traumas at some point in our lives. What are we going to do about it? Continue to name call? Or we going to rise up? All right. Next, shift out of energy habits that don't serve you. If somebody's just coming to you for sex, you don't, yeah, it may feel good at the moment. You may feel comforted. You may feel like you got company. But you don't want that to be something that continues. You don't want that to be something that continues, especially if you don't desire that. Now, if you just want to cut a buddy, that's fine. But if you want a long-term relationship and you see that this person's behavior is, I just want sex, don't keep allowing yourself to be open to that, because they're going to continue to take advantage. If you allow that door to be open, they ain't got to have no keys. It's going to walk right on in and going to step on your boundaries as they come through that threshold. So stand in your power and release any habits that don't serve you. He just want to come over here and smoke and have sex. He want to just come over here and smoke and chill. He don't even want to have sex. He just want my company. And if that ain't what you desire, then you got to move around. Have to let them know, hey, this is not what I desire. Maybe someone else out there does, but not me. So standing firm in your boundaries is basically a great way of shifting out of old energy habits, recognizing that it's something you don't want first, and then shifting out of it by saying, I'm going to have to decline, sir, ma'am. This ain't working for me. This ain't working for me. All right. And then our last point that I want to remind you on is practice positivity. Again, if we complain about it, we're being angry at people. Oh, this man didn't even, he set me up. We supposed to have a blind date. He didn't even show up. Had me getting all cute and got somebody to watch the kids, and I took off work, and that's okay. Chill, sis. Have some dinner by yourself. Turn lemons into lemonade. Don't sit and complain about it, because you're going to get more of that. It's okay to get it out your system. That's fine. Feel it, heal it, let it go. Release it. Don't keep going over and over and telling uncle, daddy, mama, cousin that same story. Tell it. Maybe you need to tell it a couple times and move on. Otherwise, you're going to continue to attract more of that. And we don't want that. That's not what we desire. That's not what we deserve. All right. So there y'all have it. I appreciate y'all. I told y'all I wasn't going to be long. I had y'all an hour and a half on last Monday. I want to be able to give this messages, pop in and out, not always have a long drawn out conversation, but just, share some mental food and some tools that have helped me. So if you are out there manifesting love, if you are in a relationship that you ain't in alignment with, if you're looking to make your current relationship better, I leave with saying that you have the power to do that. And it's all about setting boundaries and speaking intentions in your life. When you set boundaries, you are showing love to yourself. And it is also showing people how to treat you. It is setting the foundation. So I feel like that is so important. Love up on yourself so that we can fully, openly, unapologetically, non-judgmentally love each other. Great love to y'all today and always. If you're catching the replay, hope you got your pen and your paper, some really good tools to use. Again, this is just the foundation. Thank you, BGN, for this network. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have an amazing rest of your week. Y'all know I don't like that word. I'm trying to figure out another word, y'all. Our next show, let's come up with another word. But until then, I'm going to say strong. You have an amazing strong. Monday is the beginning. Make this powerful, because you have the power to. Peace and abundance, Soul Tribe. I love you to life. Shout out to BGN Entertainment again. Mindfulness Mondays. It is Goddess Z. Salute, Soul Tribe. I love you to life. Namaste. Peace.